Growing up in India and then moving to the West, I've been seen through many lenses: beauty queen, actress, immigrant, woman of color. But no matter where I go, one thing never changes: the obsession with how a woman looks. I don't want to be judged for my body. I am tired of being sized up before I'm heard. I am tired of headlines that say, she gained weight, before they ask, what did she achieve? I am a person, a mind, a voice, a dreamer. Let's get one thing straight: your body is not your value. And nobody gets to define your worth based on your curves, your height, your skin, your shape, or your scars. We live in a world where likes define confidence and filters define beauty. But real confidence comes from owning who you are, not from fitting into someone else's idea of perfection. So today, I speak up not just for me, but for every person who has been told they are too much or not enough. Too thick, too thin, too dark, too short, too real. I stand for every girl who skips meals before a red carpet. Every boy who looks in the mirror and feels like he's not enough. Every person who hides behind oversized clothes, hoping not to be noticed. Let's stop reducing humans to outlines. Let's start recognizing souls. Be fierce, be fearless, be you unapologetically. And next time someone dares to judge your body, tell them this: my worth is not up for your opinion. My power comes from within. When you strip away the layers of expectations, opinions, and unrealistic standards placed on you by society, what remains is something far more valuable than just physical appearance: your essence. You are a complex, intelligent, passionate, and powerful individual with dreams, ideas, and emotions that cannot be measured by your body shape or size. The world often tries to convince us that our value is tied to how we look, how smooth our skin is, how small our waist is, or how symmetrical our features are. But the truth is, none of these things define who you are or what you're capable of achieving. Your physical appearance is just one part of your existence, and it is the least important when it comes to your purpose, your impact, and your character. Think about the people you admire most. Is it their beauty that inspires you, or is it their resilience, their creativity, their courage, and the way they make others feel? The qualities that leave a lasting mark on the world have nothing to do with outward appearances. They come from within, from strength, integrity, compassion, and ambition. You were not born to live your life in a constant battle with your reflection. You were born to laugh deeply, love fiercely, create freely, and dream boldly. Your body is a vessel, not your definition. Every stretch mark, scar, and imperfection tells a story. Every part of you has value, not because it meets a standard, but because it belongs to you. Don't let mirrors, scales, or strangers' comments shrink the way you see yourself. You are a soul, a mind, a heart, a whole universe in motion, and no surface-level judgment can ever contain or define your worth. From the moment we are old enough to understand the world around us, society begins to shape our idea of what's acceptable. We're bombarded with images in magazines, on social media, in films, and on billboards, all pushing a narrow definition of beauty. Flawless skin, a perfect figure, the right kind of hair, the ideal weight. These standards are not only unrealistic, they are deeply damaging. They create a culture where people constantly feel like they're not enough, where you compare yourself to a photoshopped image and start to believe you're less valuable because you don't look like that, where compliments are often tied to weight loss or appearance, and where your worth feels dependent on approval from others. This constant pressure fosters insecurity, eating disorders, anxiety, and self-hate, all in the pursuit of a false ideal. What's worse is that these standards shift over time, depending on trends. What was praised a decade ago is criticized today. That alone should tell us how unstable and superficial these ideals are. Why should anyone shape their life around something that changes with the seasons? Even more damaging is how these standards marginalize and exclude. They ignore people of different races, body types, genders, and abilities. They tell us that beauty is a narrow box, and if you don't fit, you're invisible or undesirable. That is a lie. The truth is, beauty has no single definition, and worth has nothing to do with appearance. It's time we stop chasing impossible ideals and start challenging the systems that make us feel inadequate. It's time we stop applauding perfection and start celebrating authenticity. Because when society's shallow standards are removed, we find a deeper truth that every human being is worthy, just as they are. Confidence is not something you can borrow from a compliment, a like on social media, or someone else's approval. Real confidence is quiet, steady, and deeply rooted in who you are, not in what others think of you. It comes from knowing your value, understanding your strengths, accepting your flaws, and refusing to let anyone else write your story. When your self-worth is built on outside validation, it becomes fragile. One negative comment, one rejection, or one comparison can shake it all. You end up living for the applause, constantly chasing approval to feel enough. That's not confidence, that's dependence. True confidence comes from within. It grows when you honor your voice, even when it's not the loudest in the room. It strengthens when you stand firm in your beliefs, even when others disagree. It deepens when you stop asking, "Am I good enough?" and start saying, "I am enough." You don't need someone to tell you you're beautiful to feel beautiful. You don't need a title or a trophy to know you're accomplished. The moment you stop relying on others to validate your worth is the moment you truly begin to own your power. That inner confidence shows up in how you carry yourself, how you treat others, and how you bounce back from failure. It doesn't mean you'll never doubt yourself. It means that even in doubt, you believe in your right to take up space and pursue your purpose. Confidence is not arrogance or perfection. It's authenticity. It's showing up, flaws and all, and saying, "This is who I am and I'm proud of it." When that comes from within, no one can take it away. Every day, we are surrounded by messages that try to convince us that our bodies determine our value. Whether it's the idealized images we see in ads or the unspoken rules about how we should look to be worthy, the pressure is constant and exhausting. But here's the truth: your worth has nothing to do with your weight, shape, or appearance. You were not put on this earth to meet beauty standards. You were born to live, to love, to create, to impact, and none of that requires a certain dress size or facial symmetry. The world may try to put you in a box, label you as too much or not enough, but you have the power to break free from those limits. It's time to stop handing over the pen and letting others write your story. When you let the world define your worth based on your body, you shrink yourself to fit someone else's idea of who you should be. And in doing so, you lose sight of who you actually are. Your value is in your kindness, your resilience, your creativity, your strength, your laughter, your intelligence, your love, things that cannot be measured or weighed. You are not a body first. You are a soul, a heart, a mind. Refuse to let numbers, comments, or unrealistic ideals decide how you feel about yourself. Instead, choose to define your own worth from the inside out. Speak to yourself with compassion. Honor your journey. Celebrate what your body allows you to do, not how it looks doing it. The moment you stop letting the world judge your value by your appearance is the moment you reclaim your freedom and your power. Perfection is a myth that keeps us endlessly chasing something that doesn't exist, while authenticity is the truth that sets us free. In a world where filters smooth out every wrinkle and highlight reels replace real moments, it's easy to believe that we have to be flawless to be accepted. But the real magic begins when we let go of perfection and embrace who we truly are. Authenticity means showing up as yourself, not the version you think people want, but the real, raw, imperfect you. It's in your quirks, your flaws, your mistakes, your passions. That's what makes you human. That's what makes you relatable and powerful. When we chase perfection, we disconnect from our truth. We hide our vulnerabilities, we fear judgment, and we constantly measure ourselves against impossible standards. It's exhausting, and it leaves no space for growth, for learning, or for joy. But when you choose to be authentic, you create connection. You give others permission to do the same. You inspire by being real, not by being perfect. You speak a language the world is desperate to hear, one of honesty, courage, and self-acceptance. People don't remember you for having perfect skin or saying the perfect words. They remember how you made them feel. They remember your sincerity, your strength, your story. That comes from being genuine, not from being polished. Authenticity doesn't mean you have it all figured out. It means you're brave enough to be yourself, even when it's uncomfortable. And that bravery is far more beautiful than any illusion of perfection. Let go of the pressure to be flawless. Embrace the freedom of being real. Because the world doesn't need more perfect people, it needs more honest, wholehearted ones like you. There comes a moment when silence becomes heavier than words, when the fear of being judged no longer outweighs the need to be heard. Judgment is everywhere. It hides in looks, in whispers, in unspoken rules about how we should act, dress, or live. But the more we shrink ourselves to avoid it, the more power we give it. You weren't born to live quietly just to make others comfortable. You were born to speak your truth, to take up space, and to live unapologetically. Reclaiming your power means refusing to let others' opinions define who you are or dictate how far you go. It means no longer waiting for permission to be seen, to be valued, or to be accepted. When you speak up for yourself, for others, for what you believe in, you begin to break the hold that judgment has on your life. Your voice becomes your armor. Your words become your strength. You show the world that you're not afraid to stand in your truth, even if it shakes. Judgment loses its grip the moment you realize it says more about the person giving it than the one receiving it. People will always have something to say, but that doesn't mean you have to listen, and it certainly doesn't mean you have to change. Your story, your experience, and your identity deserve to be honored, not hidden. When you stop silencing yourself to avoid judgment, you step into your full power. You begin to live authentically, love fully, and lead boldly. The world needs more voices that rise, not more people who stay silent. So speak even if your voice trembles. That's not weakness, that's power reclaiming its place.